Hi guys, just thought I'd bring you a video of the AMD FX 9370 versus the Intel 4770K. Now, I've already done the 4770K. I'll just give you a quick rundown on that. I managed to overclock it to 4.5, 4.6 GHz, but I've found that these chips are limited to their temperatures, and Intel recommends, well, I think it's 85 degrees or 80 degrees, blah blah. It starts at what I limited is to when they throttle, and they throttle at 90s. Yeah, you can't really go over 100, definitely not. It will be throttling. So when I got mine to 4.6 gigahertz, it was getting into over 90s and getting to 100 sometimes, and it was throttling, losing performance. So I had to cut it back to the stablest I get is 4.4, and those temperatures while it was doing Cinebench were around 85, just sitting in the 80s, which is okay. So that's where I had to do it because of the heat. So I know you guys will say the test isn't fair because it's 4.4 versus 4.7, but hey, it's what these chips are capable of. If Intel start bringing out chips that are capable of easily going to 5 gigahertz, then they'll smoke AMD. They'll be they wouldn't even be a competition anymore. But because AMD can get to 5 gigahertz while staying in their temperatures, because AMD's temperature is 62, my limit personally is 65, because again when they start throttling at around high 60s, 69, 70, 71, they'll be throttling. So as long as you stay in the 66, 67, it's no worries. They'll still be getting maximum performance. So yeah, here we go. The test will be a little bit slower because I'm running screen capture software because I don't own a good camera at the moment. I've got the settings set quite low so it's not using too much resources, but yeah, here we go. Just wait for it to sort of clock back to 1.4. There it is. I know it's sort of cruising, ready to go. Usually it would be sitting at 1.4 consistently, but because I'm running the screen capture software, it's obviously using power all the time. So yeah. And usually when it's running at 1.4, another thing to note is the volts cut right back to 0.8, which is pretty amazing. It's using basically no power. Like they say it's a 220 watt TP, blah blah whatever, but it's only that when it's maxed out at 5 gigahertz, running its balls off, which isn't very often. Even gaming and doing most things, it's only going to use 50 to 60% of your CPU, which it doesn't always use that much volts. Like, yeah. Anyway, let's do the test. Now, if it's lagging or pausing or not running smoothly, it's because it's very CPU intensive, this test. It's putting all the cores to 100%, so the screen capture software is having trouble to keep up, I guess. Yeah. Just have a look at the scores here. You can see it's the 4770K I had at 4.4, 822, which is a very impressive score. I won't be able to get that on with this chip, but the highest I've had it is 772, and I don't think we'll even score that this time because of the screen capture software going as well. Expecting around 750, 740. I just thought I'd show you guys. It's not too far behind. Yeah, 741, but hey. Here's a Intel 3770. Stock 3.4 gets 662. I ran this chip when it was stock. It got a 630, which isn't that great when you consider its base clock is 4.4 and its turbo is 4.7, when that's 3.4 with a turbo of 3.8 or 3.9 if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, 630 it got standard, and then these were the overclocks I did. 741 isn't really a true test because I'm running that screen capture software. It did get, well, I just ran one just before without this going, and it got 772. But 772 and 822. It's not too far off, but yeah. Funny how it says 4 chords and 8 threads. Old AMD, eh? Not a true 8 core. Anyway, that's a test. Leave comments on what you guys think. I personally like the AMD chips just because they run a lot cooler. 62 degrees, just 65 degrees just sort of seems right, you know, for... I don't really like my socket running at 100 degrees all the time, or not 85 degrees if you got a 4770K, because it's just melting stuff. Basically, you can cook on that. It's just, yeah. But the performance is a little bit better than what you can get out of an AMD chip, but not a hell of a lot more. So it's up to you guys, really. Comment on what you guys think, and yeah. If you want to know how to overclock your chips to these 4.4 and 5 gigahertz, AMD or Intel, just leave some questions and I'll let you know, or I could post another video of actually doing it if you want. This is done on a Gigabyte 990 FX UD3 revision 3, and yeah, the Intel was done on a ASUS Pro, and I did a manual one and I used the 4-way optimization too. The 4-way optimization got to 4.5, and yeah, but when I was running Cinebench it was still getting into the high 90s, very high 90s, so it was basically, yeah, it was still almost, it was throttling. So yeah, I had to take it back to that 4.4, and that's when I could get a proper performance test out of it without it throttling. So yep. Later.